I've heard about are universal design for learning and differentiated instruction. And now I think there may be some persons who use these terms interchangeably, but they really are a little different. Universal design for learning really is a proactive approach. It's an approach that we use on the front end, basically, as a means of helping to design learning experiences for all our students. And it was actually came out of the field of architecture as they looked at trying to make buildings accessible to all persons from the start. Okay, a differentiated instruction, which I think a lot of us know about, going through special ed and so on, is a little more reactive, and it's not necessarily reactive in a negative way, not at all. But what it does is, when we say reactive, we mean that it kind of comes after we have understood who our children are, what their needs are, we've done our evaluations and so on, and then we make adjustments in how we plan for them, right? To ensure that the learning environment is meeting the needs of these specific students who we've highlighted, whether with particular diagnoses or children who are definitely at risk. So how do they come together? How do these two concepts come together? Universal design for learning and differentiation. So basically, as I said before, UDL looks at the planning on the front end to ensure that we address all of the needs of the children, right? All the various needs that they have. And because we know that from the outset, there is a variety of needs in our classrooms, a variety of learning styles. And then differentiation usually occurs after, as I said, the teachers have gotten to know the students. So both UDL and differentiation focus on changing the learning environment to accommodate the needs of our students, rather than just expecting that the child is going to have to just fit into the environment that they find themselves in. Okay, so I found this little cartoon and I thought it was a good representation of what it looks like if we're talking about universal design for learning, and ensuring that from the outset we understand that we're trying to set up success for our children. So the person in the wheelchair is saying, could you please shovel the ramp? Gentleman shoveling is saying, all these other kids are waiting to use the stairs. When I get through shoveling them off, then I will clear the ramp for you. And the children say, but if you, and then he says, but if you shovel the ramp, all of us can get in, right? So it's that mindset of, are we able to set up our classrooms from the outset that we're catering to the multiple needs that we will have in the classroom? We know that there are going to be situations where we will have to have targeted, strategies and targeted interventions to specific children. But from the outset, can we do our planning in such a way that it caters to everyone? So the principles of UDL, Universal Design for Learning, really looks at these three main things: providing multiple means of representation, so ensuring that once we've planned our lessons or we're carrying out our instruction, are we using multiple means? So are we catering to the children who are auditory learners? Are we catering to those, or we know no one is purely one or the other. But are we catering to children who have a preference for auditory information, a preference for visual, a preference for being able to tactile, to be able to touch, to feel, to work with their hands, to actually manipulate the information that they're learning? And then providing multiple means of action and expression. So gone are the days where the only thing that we do is require children to do a paper and pencil test. Now we're doing a lot of project-based learning. We're encouraging the children to do a lot of things, in presentations even. So, that came out very big as well during COVID, when children were online, and now they were learning how to do PowerPoint presentations and all of these things. So they're being able to activate their verbal skills, their verbal expression skills. Are they able to create things? Right? So we're understanding that there are multiple ways of expressing knowledge. And then also, of course, providing multiple means of engagement, right? So how are we allowing the children to engage in the actual process of learning? Are we just saying that they have to sit and listen to us, or do we give them other activities that they can do in order to be able to actually engage in the activities that we're doing? So, as I said at the outset, I am at the McCam Child Care and Development Center, and we're an early childhood institution. And so I thought I would just quickly talk about what we do at the center. So when the children come in at the beginning of every year, we actually have 4 periods for the year that we do a developmental checklist, a screener that looks at the main domains of development: fine motor, gross motor, cognitive, self-help skills, social emotional. And we do that and screen all of our children. In doing that, we're able to pick up children who are at risk. We usually know the children who have diagnoses from the outset, but we are also able to use this screener to pick up the children who are at risk and also the children who are on target in terms of their development. Out of that, we're then able to develop our IEPs, or individual education plans. We have a multidisciplinary team, persons from special ed background, psychologists like myself. We have an occupational therapist, we have an ABA therapist, and we have a part-time speech therapist who also speaks into the IEPs of the children that he sees for therapy. So what we're able then to do is to plan for the children who need that specific planning. But then in the lesson planning aspect of things, the senior teacher and myself as a principal will review those lesson plans to ensure that we are applying universal design for learning kind of principles in terms of how we develop our plans, but also are we identifying those children who need specific strategies, right? Very unique, targeted strategies. And so we also ensure that differentiated instruction comes out in those lesson plans. And then, of course, we ensure that our parents are part of the process, that they are able to see the developmental checklist and the IEPs as appropriate. So I just want to say education may not be equal, unfortunately, but it should be fair. And so as we go forward in this discussion and we're talking about strategies for multiple needs, are we keeping in the back of our minds how we are ensuring that all of our children are included in the learning process in the classroom, that we are not necessarily having a one-size-fits-all approach, and that we're ensuring that each child is being considered, whether or not they have a diagnosis, whether or not we even know that they have a special need, that we are keeping in mind that children are different, that children learn differently, and that they do have different needs within the education sector.